straight set victory. On the other side for Dayton, the A-10 regular season and postseason champions, getting the automatic bid for the Atlantic 10. They're on a 14-match win streak. As we said, beat American 3-1 last night in the first round, and this is their 10th NCAA tournament appearance in program history. Both teams have two very, very good players. The aforementioned Haley Washington is the go-to at Penn State.
She led the Big Ten as a freshman with a .488 hitting percentage. She's the Big Ten Freshman of the Year. Last night she hit .900, and she has this backslide play at the right antenna with Micah Hancock, the setter, and it's a very dominant and powerful play for the Nittany Lions offensively.
A lot of volleyball fans are very familiar with Micah Hancock. She is a very, very good player for Penn State, setting up players like Haley Washington, well known for her service. Dayton's best player, Elena Turner, is kind of a combination of Washington and Hancock. She's a similar hitter of Haley Washington, 30 kills last night against American. She also is one of the better service players in the country, just like Micah Hancock. She's 6th nationally, just over a half service aces per set, .51 to be exact. It's going to be very interesting to see how Penn State can handle her 30 kills last night against America.
And that balance for Turner offensively and defensively is a big reason why she was the A-10 Player of the Year and the most outstanding player in the A-10 tournament. It should be a battle here tonight, and the crowd, of course, on hand here at Rec Hall. Mike, a large crowd to see their Nittany Lions play tonight.
It is a large crowd, as it was last night. No surprise there in terms of the crowd here at Rec Hall, one of the tougher places to play in women's Big Ten and national volleyball. For Dayton tonight, what is the key to stay with this Penn State team? Just because of the fact of where they are and who they're playing might not be what you're used to seeing in the Atlantic 10.
The biggest thing is to avoid hitting errors, whether that's from the service line or passing the ball, because this Dayton team is good enough, and they've shown that this season, that they can compete with the likes of a top 6 team nationally. And wouldn't be surprised if the Flyers give Penn State some trouble here tonight, especially with Elena Turner.
As the starters are getting announced right now for both teams, and we'll take a look at the head man for Dayton. And it's an interesting ride for the Dayton head man, Tom Horsman. He was at Dayton until 2007, then left to take the Maryland job, Tyler, and came back to Dayton. This is his first year back at Dayton.
And in 16 seasons as a head coach, he's 334 and 212. But at Dayton, look at his record, 158 and 48. His return to Dayton this season is a big reason why they went 30 and 5, 13 and 1 in the A-10, and subsequently won the regular season and A-10 tournament.
158 and 48 in his 6 total seasons in Dayton for Tom Horsman. On the other side, as the coaches are shaking hands here, you have the ever-legendary Russ Rose for Penn State in his 36th season, 1,126 wins, the most all time in NCAA volleyball, just 177 losses during his time here in University Park.
I think the one thing you forgot to add about Russ Rose is he also has, in addition to all those victories, one flavor of ice cream at the Creamery.
Very well known as the Penn State Creamery, and now Russ Rose has his own flavor, adding to the accolades he has here as one of Penn State's most legendary leaders on the sidelines. Both teams are getting set to go. Last night, Penn State dominated sets 2 and 3 against Siena. A little slower than that 25-17 win in set number 1. Siena kind of gave them a little bit to handle, but then Russ Rose and coaching staff were able to adjust. How important is a quick start here for Penn State against State?
It's very important, because you look from the first set last night for Penn State to the second set. They went from hitting about 300 to hitting over 600 in the second set, and that's a big reason why they had so much success second set moving forward last night.
We'll take a look at the NCAA tournament bracket. Penn State and Dayton here. Wisconsin, the other Big Ten team, with Ohio State on that side of the bracket. Wisconsin is the 1 seed. They won 25-17, 25-19, 25-19 against Illinois State to get to the 3rd round. And here's Mike Hancock with her deadly service. Dayton handles it at the front of the net. Block attempt by Penn State. They'll call an antenna on Dayton. So it'll be the first point of the match for Penn State. On the court right now for both teams. Penn State, Franti, Grant, Hancock, Whitney, Courtney, Gonzalez. For Dayton, Arahin, Sloan, Turner, Emmenker, Jones, and Crafton. We mentioned Hancock's service. Very, very strong and tough to handle. Dayton does a decent job there. They get it to Turner. And they're going to call a net violation on Penn State. Looks like it was Nia Grant closest to the net.
That's a big break to start here for Dayton, getting Micah Hancock away from the serve because last night 7 aces. She now holds with 7 aces last night the Big Ten single season record for aces in a season. The record was previously 109. Now she has 116.
Here's Elena Turner, one of the better servers in the country. 5'10" junior from Canton, Michigan. Hancock to Ayanna Whitney. And Dayton resets. And stop block by Nia Grant. Allie Franti was there to help. And Penn State gets the service back in the hands of one of their freshman Franti.
And that's something that Grant, the leadership that she shows at the front of the net with Franti there to stuff block. You look at the size difference, so you can just see it up front between Penn State and Dayton.
Dayton's going to try and kind of set up a system here, and they get it to Turner, and she goes off speed past the diving Micah Hancock. Good change of pace there for Dayton.
It's a great change of pace, and that pipe play is something we don't see often in the women's game. We see it a lot in the men's game, but Turner did a great job of not giving a powerful swing, but letting the ball come to her and a little touch shot for the kill.
Amber Arahan, service error. The point goes to Penn State. She served well last night. No service error. Gets a service error here. And Penn State will be back now. Set serve for Nia Grant. Dayton gets it over. Micah Hancock to Ayanna Whitney off a Dayton hand and a point to the Dayton lines.
And there's Whitney with a backslide play to the right antenna. Hancock's so good at knowing where she is on the court, regardless if she's in the middle or towards the right, and Whitney's there for the kill.
Back-to-back plays, Dayton goes to Jill Loris. Couldn't get anything going there. And a stuff block from Megan Courtney. Penn State really, last night, Tyler, when they got going against Siena, it's because they dominated the pace and they were in system in terms of how fast or how slow, how aggressive or not they wanted to go. Similar start here as that service will go long. A good read there by the libero, Jenna Krafka, for Dayton to let that one go long.
And I was just going to say how Nia Grant doesn't do too much craziness with her serve like Hancock does in the speed category, and then she goes and it goes off behind the end line. But that's, again, a break for Dayton.
And her serve for Dayton, and there's Haley Washington. That will be on replay throughout the night. One of the better hitters in college volleyball, just a freshman. Absolute power at the front of the net.
And we're used to seeing Washington with a backslide, but there we have a front slide from Washington coming from the near side to the middle, and Hancock's there for a perfect pass to Washington, front middle.
Dayton diving is Dom Gonzalez. She can't handle the Isolda Hannon swing. Point for Dayton. And you're seeing Dayton go to a couple different players, a couple different hitters at the net. Haven't called Elena Turner's name as much as we thought we would, but that's not a bad thing for Dayton if they can get other players involved. A set service for Rachel Jones, and Micah Hancock with the front row set it up. And that is a easy point and typical point for Micah Hancock in the middle of the court.
And you have to think that Dayton saw that coming, but you can't, because Micah Hancock does such a good job of tricking the defense into thinking, hey, is she going to pass the ball or front row set her down?
Dayton goes to Turner, attempting the stuff block is Micah Hancock and Haley Washington, but they can't handle the kill. It'll be the second kill of the night for Turner.
And that's one area that Russ Rose has really stressed to work on with his talented freshmen is the blocking aspect of volleyball. You can't commit too early or the opponent hitters are going to know where you're going to swing.
And there's a service ace for Dayton, Jenna Krafka, junior libero from Centerville, Ohio, with the ace. And she'll look to get a little rally going here for Dayton. Hancock to Allie Franti, and that is a kill perfectly set up by Micah Hancock. Allie Franti, Haley Washington, just two of the few freshmen. We'll talk about Simone Lee will come in a little bit, as will Lainey Pierce, a very talented freshman class for Russ Rose's squad.
And Allie Franti, high energy swing there early in this match. She's a talented player, young player. She was a Big Ten honorable mention, but she had a great season. Again, so much talent. Young players for Russ Rose's squad.
Jessica Sloan in to serve. A couple freshmen on this Dayton team that contribute. And that service goes long. 2-point lead for Penn State early here. Ayanna Whitney will check back in for Lacey Fuller. And the words that Dayton fans don't want to hear, Micah Hancock is back to serve for Penn State.
Whenever you don't hear anything in the crowd, Mike, that's when you know Micah Hancock's serving.
Goes it up, hits it with her left. Dug out finally by Dayton. They have to get it over. Tough to handle for the freshman Sloan, but she did a decent job after the service from Penn State. Nonetheless, a point for the Nittany Lions and Micah Hancock.
You have to give Dayton credit there on that, returning that serve. Sprawling effort twice. Couldn't get the ball over, but to be able to control Hancock's serve is
Hancock
good enough.
Again with the lefty serve. Dayton somehow keeps it alive. There's Turner on her knees. Hancock to Allie Franti off the hand of the libero for Dayton. Chasing after it was a Dayton player. Looked like it was Rachel Jones. Dayton can't handle it, and it's a point for Penn State, but that's a good hustle play there from Jones with the dive and the sprawl.
Yeah, Jones, a product of Upper St. Clair High School, actually saw her playing some matches. That's where I attended high school.
The old alma mater.
Yeah, the old alma mater, Panthers. Just 1 year older than me. Very talented team there at Upper St. Clair.
In between the blockers is Dayton, and mishandling it is Nia Grant for Penn State, but she does get it over, and that will be a kill for the freshman Sloan. Back line for Penn State couldn't get to it, and some substitutions now for Dayton. Joe Loris back in. Tom Horsman is going to rotate up what he brings on the court here for Dayton, and his best player, Elena Turner, is back to serve down 3. Hancock to Franti, off 2 hands at the net of Dayton, and that will be a point for Penn State.
Yeah, off the top of the block there for Dayton, point for Penn State, but look, 4 points separate these two teams right now in the second round of the tournament. Very competitive effort thus far for the Flyers.
And here's Kendall Pierce, one of the 2 Pierces we'll see come on to serve. Her younger sister Lainey will also come in. Saw Kendall got the final 8 points last night against Siena in the 3rd set. She sets it up. And we go back to Megan Courtney. Dayton keeps it alive. Here's Elena Turner. Setting up Loris. Block attempt by Nia Grant and Ayanna Whitney, no good, and that will be a point for Dayton.
And Loris timed that jump perfectly. The 6'4" junior from Winter Springs, Florida, traveled a little bit up from Florida to get to Ohio, but here she is getting up at the net for the kill.
Maggie Shooter on the serve now. Megan Courtney with the kill, and the dig went to the top of the tape, almost went over. It would have been a heck of a play, but it did not, and that is a point for Penn State. 2 Dayton players come off now.
You can see Horsman calling out rotations right in front of us. But how about the play of both teams so far, Mike? I mean, this is why women's volleyball is such a popular sport in college athletics.
Dayton's going to go back to Loris. She'll go past the diving Kendall Pierce. Did go off a fingertip. That's why Pierce had to lay out for it. And Dayton gets the point. Keeping this within 3. It seems like if you can keep it within about 3 to 6 points, you have a chance to stay in this first set if you're Dayton.
Oh, absolutely. And they've avoided a multitude of errors here in the first set. And that's what I said was going to be important for Dayton, because they're coming in as the underdogs. And the away team, Penn State, gets the home court advantage. So this is a tough environment to play in. And right in front of us, the NCAA banner. Down. You can hear from the fan.
I'll weigh it down.
We're going to do our best here so it doesn't get in the way of the playing court.
Evan Kerr serving for Dayton. Penn State's going to try and go to Ayanna Whitney. Kept alive nicely. Loris, and that will be another kill for number 9 in blue. We thought we'd be calling Elena Turner's a lot tonight, but it's Joe Loris leading the way for Dayton right now.
First contact for Dayton off of the first swing for Penn State has been so important defensively and offensively for Dayton, because it's kept them in system and allowed them to get points that way.
Here's Megan Courtney. Dayton keeps it on their end. Loris going for another kill, this time played by Penn State. Swing by Megan Courtney goes off the hands of Elena Turner at the back line, and that will be a much needed point for Penn State, slowing down this Dayton team right now, who had a little bit of momentum there, Tyler.
Yeah, this is really, really good volleyball, Mike, that we're witnessing right in front of us. Both teams, and Elena Turner Penn State continues to attack her with their swings, but she's doing such a great job, despite that last point, of getting a great first contact.
Lacey Fuller serves from Penn State. Dayton goes back to Loris, but Penn State can handle it this time. There's Haley Washington running on the backslide. Micah Hancock will try and do things herself. Dayton has to get it over, and they do. And there's Hancock with the kill, taking advantage of getting the ball into the center of the floor. And you see when you have a player like Micah Hancock being able to do something like that, the velocity on the kill there, it's tough to handle. Penn State 15, Dayton 11, first time out of the match. This is the NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship on BTN+. Out of the timeout, Penn State with a 15-11 lead. And Tyler, let's go back to that last point for the Nittany Lions. Something very interesting happened that we don't see very often for Haley Washington.
No, we don't. I mean, you look, you see Micah Hancock do her signature front row setter dump, but Haley Washington registered an assist on there. That play, she has, before that play, just 3 assists on the season. Now she has 4.
Very versatile. Was one of the better players in college volleyball. Out of the timeout, there's a point for Penn State. You look at the box score right now, 3 kills for Turner and 3 kills for Loris for Dayton. Francie and Courtney leading the way with 3 apiece for Penn State. Dayton trying to slow down Penn State here, and they'll be able to continue to kind of stall here after a net violation on the Flyers. Lacey Fuller still serving for Penn State. Fuller with the service, and it goes past Elena Turner, who gives a little bit of a smile, saying, wasn't sure if that was going to be in or not, and it wasn't, luckily. It almost looked like she couldn't play it and didn't hit it because she couldn't play it. Luckily, it goes out of bounds for Dayton.
I think she took a deep breath, too, because it almost hit her as well, because she thought she could have played it.
Dayton on the service. That's Rachel Jones, and Haley Washington will have a monster swing, but kept alive by Dayton. Elena Turner, middle of the court, gets it over. Hancock to Megan Courtney. Could it be the 4th kill of the night? No, it goes long. Actually, no, they're going to call a touch on Dayton. Dayton thought it was in. There was 2 different calls from the officials. A touch is the reason why it will stay on the side of the Nittany Lions. And here comes the other Pierce, Laney, to serve as a specialist for Penn State. Tom Horsman getting the explanation from our official. And Carla Bunner and Jung Park are the officials tonight. Pierce with the serve. Turner. Hit rush slightly from Dayton. Dom Gonzalez gets to Ali Franchi. And they're going to call it a center line violation on Ali Franchi, who gives a little of a me face of disgust. Dayton will go back to serve with Jenna Crafton.
And that's one thing you don't see often, the center line violation, but when out of system Penn State was there, you have Franchi going from back to the front of the net to try to bump the ball over, and she crossed over the center line.
Hancock, backslide to Haley Washington. Give me that, says number 15 for Penn State. Penn State now 1 point away from being in the 20s. Still, Washington comes off. Mia Grant comes in, and Tom Horsman calls his 2nd timeout in the recent points. 19-13 lead for Penn State. We'll be right back on BTN+. Tim Horsman used his second time out of the first set. What do you think he was talking in the huddle to his Dayton team?
Finish this set strong. They were close, and now it's a 6-point differential between Penn State and the Flyers. You have to be able to control pace offensively, get in system, have a great first contact, and a second pass to set up something for the outside and middle hitters. But they can do it. They have the talent to do so.
Dayton hitting just at a 190 clip, Tyler. That's really what's holding them back. Additionally, Elena Turner, compared to her 30 kills last night, just 3 here in the later parts of this first set, but Dayton can do it without her. They have a couple other capable players. And they'll try and get Turner involved, blocked by Hancock and Grant for Penn State. Gonna go right back to her, off the fingers of 2 Penn State players. Backslide for Nia Grant and a point for Penn State. Perfectly set up by the Nittany Lions out of the timeout.
And you look at why Turner's having so much trouble. You saw 2 blocks there from 2 Turner swings. She's 5'10". You look at Penn State, they have a number of players over 6'2" at the front of the net, and those 3 inches pay dividends for the Nittany Lions.
Dom Gonzalez serves. Serve floats long. Back in is Jessica Sloan. She had a little bit of an impact in the earlier part of this first set when she was on the floor, did the freshman from Marietta, Georgia. She will serve for Dayton.
And you mentioned the 174 hitting clip for Dayton right now, but Penn State hitting at a 545 clip, which looking back, and we talked about this earlier, how important it was for them to get off to a hot start in the first set, and they've drastically improved their first set hitting percentage from last night to tonight.
Ayanna Whitney back on the floor for Penn State. Hancock holds the serve for the Nittany Lions. Lefty service, and Turner almost dumbfounded by the quickness of that serve from Micah Hancock. She could very likely finish out this set for Penn State. Tim Horsman has to call another TO. We can stay right here though, Tyler. What is working for Penn State? Because it was at 13-10 at one point in this set, and now it's an 8-point spread.
Well, it's errors, and it's not being tall enough. And I hate to say that, but its size difference has benefited Penn State, and it's benefited them all season, and that's why Russ Rose, when you look at recruiting, why he gets the best players. He continues to bring these tall, athletic, and talented individuals who do well academically into Penn State, and that's why they're the 5th seed in this tournament.
It seems like it never goes away for Penn State. You had Katie Slay and Deja McClendon last year, bringing in Allie Francie and Haley Washington, similar sized players to replace those 2, and they're doing a pretty good job at it. Dayton does have players on their side though, but they are a little undersized, as you mentioned. What does Elena Turner need to do to get going now? Albeit she does have 3 kills, but that is not of the norm for her.
I think that she needs to continue to display her leadership as a junior and just say, I mean, you saw after that service ace from Penn State that she was unable to handle. She just said, let's go. She said it calmly. She didn't freak out. She understands this situation, and she just needs to carry her troops through this match as it goes along. And I think another thing to note is how much Penn State is attacking the left antenna with Megan Courtney. 4 kills for her on the night, a 6.67 hitting clip. She's been quiet a lot this season, but tonight she's been clearly a strategy for Russ Rose.
And probably the number 1 thing said in Tim Horsman's timeout is somehow get the service out of the hands of Micah Hancock, and maybe we can make a run here. Hancock will do her best of making sure that doesn't happen, although the hit by Nia Grant is out of bounds, so that'll be a hitting error on Grant.
And an overpass kill opportunity for Nia Grant, just pushes it wide, near sideline closest to us.
Turner with the service. Allie Francie, and that would be a powerful swing and point from number 5.
And although that didn't pay off for Dayton, that was a smart play by Turner to let that go. It was very close, but where it would have hit her body-wise would have been high towards the shoulder. A tough ball to play off there, first contact.
So we see Kendall Pierce again. It was more Laney than Kendall last night, more Kendall than Laney tonight.
You can't go wrong either way, Mike, because both of them know their position on this team, and that's to be great servers and great defensively.
Well-placed serve there from Kendall. And Sloan will go opposite corner, and there's a point for Dayton.
And you look at that play from Sloan right at the 3-meter line, sneaks it in there, back left corner. A really nice swing there and kill for Sloan.
Shooter will serve again, the specialist. Right in Dayton is her hometown, and that one will go long. And now set point for Penn State at 24-16. Haley Washington will come in, and Nia Grant will look to finish this first set for the Nittany Lions.
And Shooter, just a freshman, you have to avoid service errors, but in this scenario, playoffs, tournament time, it's a little bit different serving in this situation than during the regular season.
Nia Grant with her set serve. Turn in the middle of the floor. Go back to Loris. That will be in for Dayton, and then they'll prolong this first set, at least shortly, going to Penn State.
Interesting, as substitution declined from the referee. Horsman does not like it. Trying to get Jendrick into the match for Sloan, but is unable to do so. And now no substitution request granted for the Flyers.
Jane Emenker serves for Dayton. Hancock to Haley Washington. And they'll go Elena Turner, middle of the floor. Dom Gonzalez is right there for Penn State. Back to Ayanna Whitney does Penn State. Sloan, and that will be another point for the Flyers, making this a little difficult for Penn State to finish in set number one.
And a little paintbrush from Sloan there. Not sure if she got all of that ball, but it took just enough off to confuse Penn State defensively.
That will slide in for Dayton. Yelling out was Penn State. That's about one of the better placed serves you'll see in college volleyball from Jane Emenker. Now just 5-point spread for Penn State.
And all of a sudden you see Dayton with momentum late here in the first set.
Even if you don't get this first set, it might be a good way to finish if you're Dayton. Megan Courtney with the kill attempt. The diving play for Dayton goes in, and now the Flyers are within 4. A heck of a turn of events for Dayton here going in their favor, and that causes Russ Rose to call a timeout. Heck of a sequence for the Flyers, silencing this Rec Hall crowd. We'll see if they can maybe make the improbable comeback on the other side on BTN+. So Russ Rose forced to call a timeout here late in the first set. Tyler, you noticed two things after that point from Penn State.
Well, you look at the last 2 points that Dayton has won. Penn State has been out of system, shifted on the right half if you're facing Dayton of the court, because that's why when Dayton's returned on the first contact, they've won the points because no one's been in system for Penn State defensively to return in that on that timeout. Russ Rose not pleased at all. Usually the entire team comes out and joins a circle. Russ Rose pushes them aside, just talks to the 6 players on the court and gives them a pep talk as to what they need to do to finish off this first set.
It was once 24-16 in favor of Penn State. They were holding serve for set point. Now it's 24-20, and Dayton holds serve with Jane Emenker again. Courtney to Hancock, center of the floor, setting up Ayanna Whitney, and that's how set number one will finish. No worries at the end of the day for Penn State in that first set. 25-20 is the final.
And that's what a timeout for Russ Rose does for you, because he's so good and he's so experienced that usually he doesn't even need to have a called timeout. When he does so, he sets up a play like that with Whitney going cross court from the right antenna to the near side end line, and that's how Penn State wins the first set.
It was an interesting and compelling end. Maybe Dayton will take some from the end of that set with them into set number 2. We'll take a break here on BTN+, give you final stats from the first set, and get Tyler's keys to set number 2 for both teams. Back here on BTN+ for set number 2 of Penn State and Dayton in the second round of the NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship. Mike Essie alongside Tyler Feldman, and we'll take a look at some stats now. Tyler, from that first set, we talked about the hitting percentage for both teams. Dayton rose up a little bit, probably because of the end of that first set, to a 276 clip. Penn State at 464. Kill leaders for both teams. Joe Loris has 4, 3 apiece for Sloan and Turner. And for Penn State, Allie Francie with 4, Megan Courtney with 4, and a couple players with 2. What did you see from the first set for both teams?
I think for Dayton, they know they're not going to get it done at the net. No total team blocks in the first set. 1 for Penn State, and you can just tell the height differential between the Nittany Lions and the Flyers. But for Penn State, 464 hitting percentage, you have to be pleased with that number after last night hitting just about 300 in the first set. So a strong start for Penn State, but Dayton, one of the most competitive sets we've seen all season against this highly ranked Penn State team.
If you're Tim Horsman, what do you adjust? Because things did go well in the back end of that first set.
I think you have to ride that momentum. Although you lost the final point and the first set, you have to ride the momentum into this second set, because Penn State, they are way more talented than this Dayton team. But this Dayton team has fight, and it starts with Elena Turner.
Emmenecker serves for Dayton to start off set number 2. Allie Francie brings it over. Emmenecker setting up Hannon. And here's Joe Loris. A misplay for Micah Hancock and Nia Grant, but they get it back, and Dayton turns over the first point of this second set. And it seems like they've succeeded when Emmenecker has served.
And Isolde Hannon didn't get all of that because it wasn't a great pass, but used it to her advantage, slips that in right before the end line, and Courtney couldn't get there in time. Penn State was shifted up closer to the 3-meter line because they continue to play aggressive volleyball, and I think that's smart from the blue and white perspective.
Allie Francie, that's the second time we've seen that happen for Penn State. Allie Francie with a monster swing. The dig goes either over or into a Dayton teammate to keep it alive, but that time the point does eventually go to Penn State, and here's Micah Hancock with the service.
Yeah, that ball hit off of Emmenecker and went right to Loris, and Loris could not believe that she mishit there. Had a great opportunity with a lot of room defensively.
Service error, first of the night for Micah Hancock. It's what you get with an aggressive serve. Dayton will bring in Rachel Jones. Jones will now serve. On the floor right now for Penn State, it's Francie, Grant, Hancock, Whitney, Courtney, Gonzalez. For Dayton, Turner, Emmenecker, Hannon, Jones, Jendrick, and Crafton. Hancock to Nia Grant for a point for Penn State, and Nia Grant is a name that is probably one of the more reliable names with Haley Washington that Penn State will go to when they need a point.
That was a perfectly orchestrated offensive play there for Penn State. The front row all towards left antenna, back row letting Dom Gonzalez play the ball to Hancock, right to Grant for the cross-court kill.
Megan Courtney with the point for Penn State. Francie will serve.
And Courtney continues to play well tonight. 5 kills now on the evening, a 6.25 hitting mark for 17.
Off the tape and drops down for Allie Francie. How about that for a little bit of luck in favor of the Nittany Lions?
And Russ Rose waves his hand to Horsman saying, hey, sorry about that. Nice little generous play, but for Franny, just a freshman, showing that she can, and again, we've talked about this, how the trio of freshmen for Penn State, including Simone Lee and that number, have adjusted really well to tournament play.
Francie makes sure she gets it over that time, but goes a little wide. So Dayton will have service now with the libero, Jenna Crafton. Jenna Crafton with the serve. Hancock. Stuff block at the net by Amber Arahan. Doesn't get any prettier than that for the freshman middle blocker.
Jendrick near there as well, and that's huge for Dayton. No total team blocks in the first set. Already 1 here in the second set, and that's what they need to do to get things done against Penn State.
Crafton with the serve. A swing from Megan Courtney. Squeaks in before the end line. Haley Washington comes in for Dom Gonzalez. Nia Grant will serve for Penn State.
And Courtney having a ribbon night so far, Mike. Already 6 kills, and she located that swing perfectly, and that's why she got the kill.
And we're going to go to Elena Turner. Penn State tries to get it over, but it will go wide.
And
Turner, 4 kills, 5 digs.
How about Turner? 5 digs, 4 kills. She can do it all, and she's been all over the court for Dayton tonight. And we mentioned her earlier as the player to watch for Dayton, and she is something special. Just a junior on the Flyers.
Another point for Megan Courtney. Maybe that's the name that's going to carry Penn State. She has 7 kills now, a match high.
Megan Courtney continues to swing hard. And you saw after yesterday's match, she had ice on her right shoulder, but clearly she's warmed up tonight for this match.
Turner a little off balance there after the pass from a Dayton teammate. Haley Washington with the kill attempt, kept alive by the Flyers. Turner's swing will, they're going to call a violation on Penn State, so Turner will be credited with the kill, although the swing was long, but the violation allows the point to go to Dayton.
And something maybe we haven't mentioned, Courtney's from Dayton, Ohio, so maybe playing with a little added incentive against the Flyers tonight.
Well, if that's what it is, it's faring well. They're going to go back to Courtney, tries to change up the pace a little bit, but Dayton counters. Back to Haley Washington goes Penn State. Into the stands goes the volleyball, and that is another on cue. An average swing for Haley Washington.
Can we coin the term the Washington whack? Because holy smokes, the opponents have so much trouble returning her swings. They're so powerful.
I like that, the Washington whack.
Whack a Washington? No, I like Washington whack better, Mike.
And maybe a little bit of an injury there for Arahan. She's going to come off. Dayton trainers looking at her as we'll have a little stoppage in play here. Maybe a little blood coming out. Yep, it looks like a bloody nose for Arahan, and they're going to look to see if there's any blood on the floor and get the rec hall staff to clean that up here.
The crowd has certainly quieted. Not often in women's volleyball you see an injury. One tonight, and it looks like just off the nose, a little bloody. I think she'll be okay, but you never know with something like that, Mike.
7-6 lead for Penn State as we're attending to the injury here. We'll take a quick timeout on BTN Plus and be right back.
Ohio State won the second set over Kentucky, so they're tied at 6 in the third set, Kentucky and Ohio State. Florida won the second set, so Miami and Florida are tied in one set apiece, and Florida leading 10-6 in the third set. And Arkansas is leading 17-15 in the second set. Oregon State won the first set, so Oregon State's on 1 set to 0. Arkansas leads the second set 17-15, and Nebraska is up 8-7 in the first set over Utah.
Court is cleared of blood, and we're back here on BTN Plus. An interesting little layoff there for both teams, maybe allowing some time to Dayton figure this thing out, and maybe Penn State to get set up too. As Lainey Pierce has been back there bouncing that volleyball for a solid 5 minutes waiting to serve here. And she'll give the righty serve. Dayton going back to Turner. Diving for it is Dom Gonzalez. Running towards the bench is Lainey Pierce, but she won't be able to get after it. It'll be a point for Dayton as Hannon comes on for Dayton. And service will be held in the hands of Angel Agu.
Hey, the pipe play is working for Dayton right now, especially with Elena Turner coming from the back row, front middle, up the middle, and swinging for the kill. Nice job by her, and that's something that they've strategized clearly for this match.
I have substitution clarification from the officials here. And Tim Horsman for Dayton. Slower has been the play than the usual we've seen in a women's volleyball match in terms of pace. Here's Haley Washington. They're going to go back to Washington. Backslide from Hancock to Washington, and a point for Penn State.
I think that's the equivalent of a give and go in volleyball. Haley Washington, first contact, right to Hancock. Hancock with the backslide play for Washington towards the right antenna near us and a subsequent kill.
Carly Muller in for Penn State to serve, the sophomore from Manhattan Beach, California. Righty serve hits the top of the tape and comes back on the side of Penn State. Will be a service error for Muller. She'll come back off, and Haley Washington will re-enter. Or she will come off, excuse me, and Dom Gonzalez will re-enter.
I think it's safe to say that on that serve, the tape wasn't as friendly as it was for Franti just a few points ago.
Almost the same spot of the net. Maybe they got to find a different side to go to. Emmenecker serves for Dayton. Finding Franti is Micah Hancock. Emmenecker skies it for Loris. Going back to Franti is Penn State. And going back to the lead is Penn State. 9-8 now in favor of the Nittany Lions.
I think we're overlooking how close this second set has been just because of how the first set played out. Penn State riding a 45-set winning streak, Mike. So a lot at stake here in addition to the tournament play.
Throws it up with her left, hits it with her left, does Micah Hancock. Loris will get the swing and the kill for Dayton. Got to credit the Flyers ever since it was 24-16 in the latter parts of that first set. Dayton's kept it close.
They certainly have, and they've carried that momentum that they achieved late in the first set into the second set, and that's why it's tied at 9. And Loris with 5 kills, she's been quietly killing Penn State offensively.
Jones serves for Dayton. Punches with her right hand to keep that one alive. Gets it to Elena Turner. Block from Whitney and Grant for Penn State. Off the tape, and Hancock keeps it alive. We're going to go back to Allie Franti. Penn State's been calling her name a lot, and that is a monster kill from Nia Grant, albeit an easy one as the center of the floor was wide open. Grant saw it and capitalized.
A dynamic overpass kill for Nia Grant, and that's just experience, seeing the ball at the height of where it was at the net and swinging hard down at it for a powerful kill.
Allie Franti serves for Penn State. Hannon stuffed by the Nittany Lions. Dayton keeps it alive. That one will go off the net for Dayton, and the point will stay with Penn State, maybe being able to pull together a little bit of a run. We talked about Megan Courtney there, Tyler, but now it's kind of been Allie Franti's been the go-to of the latter points.
She certainly has, but also look at the front row of Penn State right now. The experience of those 3 players in Courtney, Whitney, and Grant, and that's a big reason why the blocking has been so strong for Penn State late here.
That's a service error for Allie Franti, the second one of this set. Jana Krafka serves for Dayton. Franti, Hancock, far side for Megan Courtney, cross court for the kill.
You just see that pink bow float in the air. Courtney swinging down, and she's had an incredible match so far. 8 kills now and 4 digs, so she has been very dynamic for Penn State tonight.
Service ace, Nia Grant. Miscommunication from Dayton because the middle of the court was wide open.
I think this would be a good time for Tim Horsman to call a timeout. 3-point differential now, and Penn State has really gotten Dayton out of system here.
That one might have been long, but Dayton plays it. Blocked attempt there for Penn State does not go in. Jenna Gendrick will be credited with the point for Dayton. And on to serve is Jessica Sloan. She was a good player off the bench for Dayton in that first set, Tyler.
She certainly was, and she came through big late in the first set for Dayton.
Megan Courtney make it 9 kills, just a set and a half in. Lacey Fuller comes in. Megan Courtney is balling tonight.
She's doing a little bit more than balling, Mike. She is having a phenomenal match, and timing her jumps perfectly, hard swings, and locating her balls very well.
Hey, how about a stuff block, too, for number 17? You can't teach the way she's playing right now. You have to be pretty pleased with that. First block of the night for Megan Courtney. And maybe it is that hometown of Dayton is firing her up here against the Flyers. Penn State with a 15-11 lead. We'll be right back on BTN Plus. State up 15-11. Lacey Fuller with the serve. There's Elena Turner, and that's a much-needed point for Dayton, Tyler.
A really important point for Dayton to turn the corner here in the second set and possibly do what they did in the first set and storm and surge a comeback. But it all starts with Elena Turner, and she really used her athleticism there at the net to get back row kill there for Turner.
Megan Courtney, played by Dayton. Hancock, backside Haley Washington, point Penn State. Can't do it any better than that.
Boy, Washington, great vision. Back left corner of the court through an entire team of Dayton Flyers for the kill.
That floats right over the tape for Megan Courtney. Lacey Fuller dives and keeps the play alive for Penn State. Blocked with that is Allie Francie. Haley Washington says, I'll take it myself. And she gets it done, and that is synonymous with Haley Washington. Production is almost uncomparable for this freshman.
Washington whack, overpass kill. It's too
Service
easy.
error for Penn State. 17-13. Second set's beginning to move on here. Better pace for both teams. Calling Kelsey Osgood's name for the first time tonight, another freshman for Dayton, Long Beach, California native. Courtney, Hancock, far side. Allie Francie, kill number 6. 18-13 now, Penn State, and it seems like they're rolling now.
I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves here, but Penn State right now, this streak right here is the best and the most dominant they've played all match. As there's a timeout called by Tim Horsman, he realizes that needs to figure things out if they want to get anything going against this Penn State team.
All right, 18-13. Dayton needs to figure out a way to do what they did later in that first set, and that's combat this Penn State run. We'll be right back on BTN Plus. Out of the timeout for Dayton. Service in the hands of Dom Gonzalez. What are you looking at, Tyler, here out of the TO?
I'm looking for Gonzalez. All she has to do is get it over the net, avoid a service there, set up defensively, and just continue to battle against Dayton. And for Dayton, like, they need to continue to be aggressive. They can't hold anything back at this point in the set, because if they lose this second set, it is going to be a very long road to come back against Penn State.
Gonzalez' serve. Coming after her, center of the floor. Hannon tries to get the kill, but she is denied by Penn State. Allie Francie off a Dayton hand falls into the floor, and now Penn State continues its run.
And that right there shows the development from Allie Francie at the beginning of the season to now. Just behind the 3-meter line, gets enough on it and locates the swing well enough to get it past Dayton's blockers.
Dom Gonzalez breaks the mini run for Penn State with a service error. And that's been a category that Penn State hasn't excelled at. I believe that is the 10th of the night for the Nittany Lions. Gonzalez, Hancock, going to Allie Francie again. They've called her name a lot tonight. Dayton keeps it alive. Back to the same part of the floor to Allie Francie. She's blocked with the net by Dayton. Now they're going to go backside Nia Grant. And that will go long cross court. Much to the disliking of this Penn State crowd.
Well, for Jenna Jendrick, though, good thing she ducked, because if she didn't, that was going right for her head. The crowd doesn't like the call, thought it went off of her, but nonetheless, points for the Flyers.
Evan Ecker serves for Dayton. Blocked again is Allie Francie. They've had that side of the floor marked off has Dayton. Blocked and point for Penn State. Now in the 20s, Ayanna Whitney comes on. We haven't seen her on the floor in a couple points.
And that play there, Mike, is where the height matters. Loris didn't get a lot of under her vertical, didn't get enough on top of the ball, and that's why it was an easy block for the Nittany Lions.
Hancock serve. Somehow handled by Loris and Dayton. The return will go long. And Tim Horsman again has to call a timeout. But to credit him, this is where he called the timeout in the first set and was able to get something going. So maybe it will be much of the same for Dayton coming out of the timeout down 21-15. The NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship. Second round action right here on BTN Plus. Micah Hancock waiting for the officials to give her the go on service. Again, this is just how it was. It's almost identical to that first set. Dayton calls a timeout with the service in the hand of Micah Hancock. She has a chance to finish off the set. In set number one, the way it finished was Dayton reeled off 5 or 6 straight points to make it closer than it very well could have been. Hancock off the tape, dropping in for a service ace. That one had some velocity on it, overpowered the tape of the net, and fell into the side of Dayton.
I know it hit the tape, but remind me never to ever try to return or get anywhere close to a Micah Hancock serve.
It's like a top 5 rule of life right there in order to stay safe.
Please, please, keep me away from that.
Hancock with her lefty serve. That time Turner is able to handle it for Dayton. Loris with the kill. Well set up by the Flyers. We'll bring on the specialist, Rachel Jones, to serve again.
I know Dayton won the point there, but Hancock's serve is just, it's like there's 7 wonders in the world. This is the 8th wonder, Mike. Micah Hancock's serve.
Backslide Nia Grant, blocked at the net, dropping in right in front of the diving Rachel Jones. Now 2 points away from taking this second set are the Nittany Lions.
Like, honestly, would you rather go to the Great Wall of China or see Hancock serve? I don't know.
Well, I've seen Hancock serve about 8 times tonight. Never been to the Great Wall of China, so that answer is a little more simple for me. Well pumped up is Isolde Hannon. She gets the point and the kill for Dayton. She'll come off in favor of Angel Agu.
Comes right near us on that kill, and nice catch over there by Russ Rose. Really nice catch.
Krafka serves for Dayton. Setting up Megan Courtney. Krafka able to keep that on Dayton's side. Well controlled have been the Flyers in the latter points. That pass a little behind Elena Turner, but she's able to get it over. Megan Courtney blocked at the net. Turner. Oh, she'll get it right back. Behind her again, but able to control. And Whitney will tap it right over the head of Elena Turner in front of the diving Jana Krafka. And set point again for Dayton. For Penn State, and it couldn't be even more similar. Back to that first set for Dayton. You're down. It was 24-16. Now it's 24-17 in the second set. And Nia Grant is serving. Turner with the kill. She is beginning to pick up her play now. That's 8 on the night.
Really nice first contact from Jones to get it to Agu, and now Agu front middle. Perfect pass to Turner for the kill.
Hancock to Courtney. Dayton keeps it alive. Hancock back to Courtney. Good job by Jones to get on her knees and make that play. Goes behind Elena Turner. Dom Gonzalez now setting up Ayanna Whitney, and that will be a set number 2 victory for the Penn State Nittany Lions. 25-20, now 25-18 in this second set. Much of the same for the most part for Penn State there, Tyler.
And it all starts with Ayanna Whitney. She registered the last 2 points for the Nittany Lions. To get to 24, it was a long rally between Dayton and Penn State with powerful swings left and right, and then finally, after a lengthy rally, Whitney said, enough is enough. I'm going to do a finesse shot, take a little bit off the ball, and win the point that way. And then on that last play, front middle Hancock, you know it's going to be a Penn State victory because when Hancock's in the middle, 90% of the time, Hancock is getting that pass perfectly to one of her outside hitters. This time it was Ayanna Whitney for the second set win.
25-18 in that second set. Look at some totals here for both teams now. Megan Courtney leading all in the kill category with 9. Elena Turner for Dayton now back up to 8.
Florida has just won their
Haley Washington and Allie Franti, the Penn State freshman, both have 7. 6 kills for Joe Loris for Dayton. A 220 clip for the Flyers, 424 for Penn State. Really what's holding back the Nittany Lions, Tyler, are those 10 service errors. Other than that, it's been a pretty good match.
Yeah, you take those away from Penn State, and this match really isn't that close, but look at it this way. No service errors from Dayton in that second set. Penn State had 6 because each had 4 after the first set, and that's a positive for Dayton if you look at it that way. And another player that I forgot to mention, I said Whitney because she won the last 2 points, but Megan Courtney, how many times did you say her name in the second set and first set combined? 9 kills for her on 18 attempts. That's a 50% hitting, and that'll get it done for the Nittany Lions.
As we have a pretty entertaining intermission here for Penn State. And it was an entertaining first 2 sets, so we'll take a break here on BTN Plus. Penn State in control here, but Dayton's been able to hang in. Can they maybe push it to 4 sets? We'll have the answer after this break on BTN Plus. Great crowd on hand here at Rec Hall for the second round of the Women's Volleyball Championship. Right here on BTN Plus. Mike Essie alongside Tyler Feldman. Penn State has taken control in both of these first 2 sets, Tyler. To have a well set up third set, 25-20 and 25-18 were the first 2. What are you seeing for Penn State to finish off Dayton in a straight set victory?
Continue to hit well. I mean, they're hitting 424 as a team. 4 players are hitting over 500, and a good team hits about 350. A great team hits above that number. So Penn State doing a great job tonight. And it starts with Micah Hancock. Her passing has been phenomenal. No surprise there. Allie Franti, Haley Washington, 2 freshmen with 7 kills apiece. Megan Courtney has been phenomenal, the Dayton, Ohio product, facing the school that was in her hometown growing up. She has 9 kills and is hitting 50%. She is playing at a whole nother level right now, something that I don't think had seen for a while from Megan Courtney, but it just shows you, Mike, how many players Penn State has. It's so deep that Russ Rose has on his bench to perform like Courtney is tonight.
On the floor to start the third set for Penn State, Franti, Grant, Hancock, Whitney, Courtney, Gonzalez. For Dayton, Turner, Emenecker, Hannon, Jendrick, Loris, and Krafka. Micah Hancock, per usual, will start the service for Penn State. 46 now. Straight sets won for Penn State, trying to make it 47 and advance in this NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship. Elena Turner. Loris brings it over. Penn State's going to try and start it off with Allie Franti. Kraft is able to keep it on the side of Dayton. Blocked there by Ayanna Whitney and Nia Grant. And Hancock is going to set up Ayanna Whitney for the kill, and that's how Penn State will start the third set, Tyler.
And what a start from Dayton, though, but Penn State just too good. A great rally between the 2 teams, and Ayanna Whitney, she started and she finished the second set very strong, has taken that here to the third set, first kill in the third.
lefty serve. Took a little bit off it for placement purposes. Right in front of Elena Turner. Very good placement there from Micah Hancock.
Ace after ace. 7 last night. A number of aces tonight. She is just so good at the end line serving the volleyball.
Amenecker setting up Hannon, and that will be Dayton's first point of this third set.
It looked like Hancock took a little bit off of her serve there. Not sure if you saw that, Mike, but maybe the strategy in the locker room between the second and third set was we just need to get the ball over the net. Don't need to punish them with your ferocious serve. Instead, just rally back and forth and win the point that way.
Penn State gets a point off the service error going out of bounds for Dayton. And maybe a product of it is take a little off, focus on your placement, and then the next rotation that you serve, power it through, and maybe they won't be expecting it. Kendall Pierce will come on to serve in place of Allie Francie. There's a slew of bounces as Kendall Pierce brings the service over. Misplayed there by Elena Turner. It'll be a point for Penn State.
And for Turner, that's just a play with her junior experience that you can't have in the third set, a set where you desperately need to win. You can't fall behind at any point, and that's what they've started here in the third set.
No misconfusion in Dayton, but Hannon's able to handle it. Penn State's going to go back to Ayanna Whitney. Good presence there at the front of the net for the Flyers. To Elena Turner, blocked by Penn State. Gonzalez setting up Ayanna Whitney, and that will go off the hand of a Flyer and into the floor. 5-1 lead for Penn State.
What if we do Wacken Washington, Wicked Whitney, because those two have played phenomenally well tonight at the net. Penn State so balanced at the front of the net.
Kendall Pierce, again, unable to handle it is Elena Turner, visibly frustrated as Dayton's best player. And Tim Horsman has to call a timeout. If you get down 5, 6, 7, 8 points to Penn State early, it's going to be a long third set. And right now, it's simple mistakes by the Flyers that are holding them back. You're watching the NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship on BTN+.
Colorado has won the fourth set, 26-24, so that match with Colorado State is held 2 sets apiece. Ohio State leads Kentucky 13-9 in the fourth set. The Buckeyes up 2 sets to 1.
Kendall Pierce had a heavy impact in the back end of the third set last night, so maybe it's the front end of the third set tonight where she can make a contribution for Penn State. It was 8 straight to finish the match for the Nittany Lions last night from the junior Pierce. As we're coming out of the TO here, saw Tim Horsman is not afraid to call consecutive timeouts or frequent timeouts to get his team back on track. It worked in the first 2 sets to a certain degree. That service goes long. Elena Turner does a good job of watching it go wide, and Dayton will be back to serve with Jana Krefka.
Maybe he was trying to freeze the server in Kendall Pierce there. It certainly worked if that's what he was trying to do.
Well, you want to do anything that will give you a slight momentum swing if you're Horsman and Dayton. Megan Courtney. Jones. A diving play by Micah Hancock. And that is a double hit from Megan Courtney and a point for Dayton. I feel like the safe zone is 5, right? A 5-point spread. If it's anything over that, it gets a little difficult for Dayton, although we've seen them do it at 8 to get it close. But that was fairly late compared to where it was at 6-1 early here. And that is a money play by a money player for Penn State and Nia Grant. Haley Washington comes back on. Haven't seen her much in this early part of this third set.
And that's one area that Penn State has really done a good job of tonight is the outside hitters, cross-court swings. to hit the ball and catch the defense for Dayton off guard.
And Amber Arahan, that was an aggressive swing on her behalf. Getting a much needed point for Dayton. She's back on the floor after the injury. She has, as we thought, had a bloody nose and has stuffed some tissue up there to prevent it from bleeding, able to allow her to return to competition. They'll keep her on the floor as long as the blood isn't spreading on a jersey or on the floor.
That's good.
Micah Hancock to Megan Courtney, back into a dominant fashion is Courtney, kill number 10.
Yikes. Wow. Powerful swing from Megan Courtney again, as she's not holding anything back tonight, Mike. My goodness.
Lacey Fuller, one of the scrappier players we'll see. Stuff block Megan Courtney. How about you do it all?
I think if you're Dayton, you have to attack someone else on the court, offensively and defensively. You have to put two blockers when Courtney's swinging, and the vice versa when Courtney's at the net, a solo block there.
That goes wide from Haley Washington. Dayton back on the scoreboard. In the game is Joe Loris. Rachel Jones comes on. How about the play of Rachel Jones, though? She's one of those players that can come on and provide some steadiness when you need it off the bench.
Again, and she doesn't appear on the stat sheet as much, but she's one of those players that you need from a service specialist position.
You can't stop that. There is no way you can stop that from Haley Washington. She is going to be a sight here for the next remainder of this season and three more afterwards.
She stays healthy. Everything goes as planned. She'll go down as one of the Penn State's greatest of all time under Russ Rose.
That violation on Penn State.
You know, back to Jones, though. She's a great player to have for a first contact. Not afraid to get down, dive, spread her body out to get a ball up for a second pass. And that's how the offense starts, and that's how the Flyers have been so competitive tonight.
Kelsey Osgood, we saw her in the second set come on to serve for Dayton. And she will be back here in the third. And you can bring these freshmen on pretty confidently if you're Tim Horsman. And the timing's been very good too. That one goes long on a hitting error off of Penn State.
And that was
Dayton back within 3.
That was a tough ball for Washington because she had to hold her body back to avoid a center line violation, and because of that, she couldn't get as much air and not as much height to push down on the ball.
Megan Courtney and Lacey Fuller let that one go, and it falls in play. That's the second time we've seen Penn State take a chance there. Have to be slightly frustrated with the Penn State coaching staff, as that one was pretty close, and Penn State decided to let it go by, and Dayton gets it within 2 at 10-8. Backslide Haley Washington, point Penn State. You almost can't even get pumped up about it anymore because you know it's going to happen and you know it's going to be effective.
Doesn't stop Washington from getting pumped up. After winning that, you can just see her say, let's go, as a powerful swing and kill there. And anytime you're Penn State and you need a point, I think that backslide, if you can set it up offensively, is the go-to for the Nittany Lions.
Emmenecker setting up Turner. Back to Allie Francie for Penn State. Turner can't dig it out. And here comes Penn State rolling back. And the holding serve is Dom Gonzalez.
And the one thing about Turner's game that you have to look at and say, what can she work on? It's when there's a low ball close to the ground. Maybe she could pancake or get a hand under. It's at the top just to bump up.
Emmenecker behind her head. Jill Loris with the kill for Dayton. She's been one of the players that's been able to control what Dayton's been trying to do here. While Elena Turner is having a great night with 9 kills and 8 digs. Don't know where Dayton would be without Jill Loris tonight, who has 8 kills.
Yeah,
Penn State lets that one go long, and that one does, in fact, end up being a service error on Dayton.
Loris has been phenomenal, hitting just 273, but for Dayton, 8 kills, 22 attempts. She's been a player at the net for the Flyers that has kept it close for Dayton.
Micah Hancock serves. Turner's able to play it. Dayton on the return, diving is Dom Gonzalez to keep the ball in play for Penn State. And Allie Francie cross-court kill. How about that placement from the freshman?
Cross-court after cross-court kill for the Nittany Lions. It is really working for them in this third set. And not only does that take great vision from the passer in Hancock, but also takes vision from the hitter to fake one way, go another, then go cross-court.
Gonzalez, Hancock to Ayanna Whitney, and that will be a net violation on the Flyers. Would have been a point anyways. And Hancock continues to serve. This is where it could get ugly for Dayton if Micah Hancock's able to get into a rhythm. Tim Horsman visibly upset with the referee here, Jung Park, and he will call a timeout to get some time on his behalf. Penn State with a 15-9 lead. We'll be right back on BTN Plus. Lead for Penn State. Both teams heavily relying on two players respectively. It's been Megan Courtney with 10 kills for Penn State, 9 kills for Allie Franti for Dayton. It's been Turner and Loris with 9 and 8 kills respectively. No surprise there for either team. Emenecker to Hannon, and she's able to sky up for a powerful swing in the back end of the floor that Penn State can't get to. Now 5 points and holding service is Rachel Jones for Dayton. Set serve from Jones, played by Megan Courtney. They're going to go to Allie Franti, does Penn State. There's Turner to Emenecker, back to Hannon, paintbrush. Allows Penn State to have a better playable point, and that's a stuff block from Hannon. Turner by her left side, and now Dayton trying to build up some confidence here midway through this third set.
Very impressive in-system play from Dayton there, especially at the front of the net. The front three doing a great job of controlling play at the net and battling with Penn State, winning the point on a stuff block for the Flyers.
Megan Courtney plays it. Dom Gonzalez does a great job of chasing after it. Penn State has to get it over. It will be the duties of Megan Courtney, who dives well short of a Dayton return that falls in play. Now just a 3-point deficit for the Flyers. Jones will continue to serve.
You could see the faces from everyone on the Flyers bench and even Jendrick herself. Had the right idea, didn't hit it all that well, but got the point end line for the Flyers.
Hancock does a good job of controlling the pass to get it to Nia Grant, who controls the swing. And now if you're Penn State, if you're a Penn State fan, you're almost awaiting a 5 or 6 point run, because this is usually where they're going to do it. And when they do, it's a service specialist. Russ Rose calls the number of Kendall Pierce. She's able to put together some quality, consistent, and well-placed serves for Penn State. Turner does a good job of getting after that one, and she will bring it over. Dom Gonzalez to Micah Hancock to Nia Grant into the court. And a point for Penn State.
The reach of Grant is just too much for Dayton, especially in that situation at the net where she's not in the most comfortable position for the swing and kill, but she gets it there anyways because of the length of her arms.
Kendall Pierce serves. Elena Turner, stuff block. Ayanna Whitney and Nia Grant, two old friends, the veteran players on this Penn State team. They've made way for these freshmen very selflessly, allowing Penn State to really excel here towards the back end of this season and into the postseason. You have to think about that from those two players who were probably thinking they were going to be the number 1 and 2 names, but they've made way for these freshmen that have been able to contribute.
And they've done so, and I think that's a big reason why the Penn State freshmen have transitioned so well into this tournament.
What a play by Kendall Pierce there with her right hand to keep it alive. That's one of the better volleyball plays you will see. And they're going to call a net violation on Penn State, but that play from Kendall Pierce, that was pretty unbelievable.
So Tim Horsman screams net at the ref. Russ Rose on the other end of the bench says, did he call that for you? You could see him from his mouth. So a funny turn of events there, but point nonetheless for the Flyers.
Penn State's going to go to Ayanna Whitney, and she's going to go right inside that back line for a point. Haley Washington on, Dom Gonzalez off for Penn State. When you have Haley Washington, Ayanna Whitney, Nia Grant, Megan Courtney on the floor at the same time, I don't know how you're going to stop it. And you can even enter in Allie Franti there, too, to make it even more difficult. And we haven't called Simone Lee's name yet tonight. Another added enforcement for Penn State, as that is an error on behalf of Dayton, and now Penn State's 5 points away from taking this match in straight sets.
And one thing we've seen tonight late here in the third set is the experience that Russ Rose has on the court. And as Penn State travels later into this tournament, that's something that we probably will see from the Nittany Lions, because experience is so important, especially in tournament play. But again, the selflessness of the seniors is a big reason why the freshmen have transitioned so well to the tournament play.
Jessica Sloan with the serve for Dayton. Penn State's going to go to Megan Courtney, and that ball is going to sail into the scorers table here. Megan Courtney now with 11 kills. Penn State has 4 players, Tyler, with 8 or more kills. That balance and ability to spread the wealth is a big reason why they're on the verge of sweeping the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament.
And that comes as no surprise, but the depth of this team is so important moving forward for the Nittany Lions.
Megan Courtney pushes one over. Dayton's able to control with Rachel Jones. Haley Washington is going to set up the front row setter dump. Haley Washington was going for the backslide. Micah Hancock said, not this time, let me get a little bit of it now. And she's able to connect and find the floor, 22-14.
That was a no-look front row center dump. She looked left, went right with it, Mike.
Sloan dug up by Kendall Pierce nicely. Diving forward is Pierce, she can't get to it. And that is a much-needed point to buffer what Penn State is bringing on the behalf of Dayton.
Certainly, and we've seen a similar score here in the first 2 sets now, 22-15. And that says how consistent these two teams have really played tonight. Penn State just a little more talent, a little more ability than this Dayton team.
Angel Agu is on for Dayton. Service coming from Elena Turner. Wow from Megan Courtney, and even more of a wow from Krafka to keep it alive for Dayton, which turns into a point. Here come the Flyers now.
Flyers, when they need points, and they're pushed on the brink, it seems, as they've done so in the first 2 sets, and now here in the third, they start to get points and really bear down.
And the ball's in the hands of Elena Turner. I was just going to say things go well for Dayton. But it's been an off night for Turner, relatively speaking, because she had some 30-kill performances in the latter half of this season and postseason, 9 tonight. And it's not like she is playing poorly. Penn State's doing a great job of limiting her and forcing Dayton to go elsewhere.
No, she really is, and that's a big reason why Penn State has had so much success tonight, is because of that.
Seeing another part of this match where we're having substitution confirmation between Park and the Dayton bench. That's figured out. Now Lainey Pierce replaces her sister Kendall.
Matchup change.
Dayton does a good job of communicating. They're going to go to Sloan. Lacey Fuller new into the match. She keeps it going for Penn State. Brought over quickly by Emanecker to Hancock, who floats one to the back line. Dayton is able to run after it. Flyers do the same thing, and there goes Micah Hancock. Face of determination and confidence, one that's been in Rec Hall for 4 years now, and this Penn State crowd is used to that and used to standing up on the 24th point of the third set, looking off to finish a 3-set sweep.
Only 2 hitters out here for Penn State right now on Washington and Franti, the 2 freshmen.
Lainey Pierce, smart to keep it alive in that fashion for Penn State. Then go back to Laura. Somehow Lacey Fuller keeps it alive. Pierce runs after. It would be a heck of a finish if they do it in this fashion for the Nittany Lions. Hustle plays from Penn State. It goes long. See ya in the third round for the Nittany Lions. How about that finish? A hustle play for Penn State, and they dominated the weekend here at Rec Hall. Make it 16 straight matches that the Nittany Lions have won, 47 straight sets. That's how you get to the third round of the Women's Volleyball NCAA Championship, Tyler Feldman.
How about 3 freshmen on the court there, and it's Lainey Pierce who makes the big play to win it for the Nittany Lions with a diving, sprawling effort. And Mike, that just goes to show you how much trust Russ Rose has in his freshman class. Did not see Simone Lee tonight, but that's another freshman player that can do damage for Penn State moving forward in this tournament. And for Penn State, Megan Courtney, certainly the star of the night for the Nittany Lions, finished with 11 kills, 440 hitting percentage, 6 digs. She was all over the court tonight and really did a nice job to push Penn State into the third round.
And that will do the home play here for Penn State as they will move into that Louisville region. And they're going to go to one of the better arena names in all of sports here in the USA, the KFC Yum with an exclamation point center in Louisville, Kentucky. In that side of the bracket, Penn State is setting up an ever-looming Big Ten rematch, national championship rematch last year in that Louisville region. Wisconsin already won last night over Illinois State. They will face the winner of Kent State and Kentucky, and Ohio State, who just did the Buckeyes. So Wisconsin, Ohio State on one side, a Big Ten matchup there, Tyler, and then it's either going to be Penn State and Long Beach State or Penn State and UCLA in a match that I believe is going to be taking place later tonight. So very potential of having an all Big Ten regional final there in the Louisville region. Although if Penn State does have to play UCLA, it is the 12th ranked Bruins that Penn State would have to get past. Wisconsin, with a little bit easier in terms of ranking the unranked Ohio State team, would be their matchup.
Either way you look at it, Penn State's going to play a team that has a lot of California-style play, something that Penn State doesn't get to see often, but Penn State did lose to a Stanford team, the top-ranked team in this tournament, earlier in the season.
That will do it here from Rec Hall. 25-20, 25-18, 25-16. Penn State the winners. Want to give a big shout-out and thank you to our BTM Plus production team, for my broadcast partner, Tyler Feldman. I am Mike Essie, signing off here from Rec Hall, where Penn State advances to the third round.